Texas introduces bill to make identifying as transgender felony. Because apparently, everything's bigger in Texas, including bad ideas. In yet another bold move that only Texas could pull off, Representative Tom Oliverson has filed a bill that would make identifying as transgender a felony. You know, just in case the state hasn't already been a little too chill about living in the 21st century. If passed, the bill would criminalize something called gender identity fraud. That means if you dare to identify as a gender that doesn't match your birth certificate, you could face up to 2 years in prison and a fine of $10,000. Because nothing says freedom like making people choose between jail time or a lifetime pretending to be someone they're not. Now, before you get too worked up, let's all take a moment to remember that this bill currently has 0 co-sponsors. So, it's about as likely to pass as a law making the Alamo a giant water park. But let's dive into it anyway, because it's definitely something. Oliverson, whose legislative priorities seem to be making life harder for people and being a role model for bad decisions, thinks it's a good idea to criminalize something that doesn't harm anyone. His bill, if passed, would make it a state jail felony to knowingly make a false or misleading statement by identifying as a gender different from the one assigned to you at birth. Apparently, Oliverson has decided that his version of Texas should include a healthy dose of misguided personal responsibility. You know, where everyone is legally obligated to follow a script written at birth, whether they like it or not. But don't worry, Representative Oliverson. We know your bill is so far out there that it's not even a blip on the radar for now. In fact, it's got about as much support as a cowboy had in the tsunami. Still, it's nice to see Texas continuing its tradition of aiming for stars, except these stars are totally disconnected from reality. Meanwhile, Texas is also the state that's been leading the charge in anti-trans legislation with the flair of a rodeo clown on a sugar rush. Last month, Representative Brent Money, another Texas Republican, filed a bill to stop healthcare providers from offering puberty blockers, hormone therapy, or surgeries to anyone over the age of 18. Because, clearly, the state knows better than doctors when it comes to the well-being of adults. Money, who likely moonlights as a professional heartbreaker, insists that his bill is not about judgment. Oh no, it's about accountability. And what better way to hold people accountable than to deny them basic health care and force them into a lifetime of emotional distress? But here's the plot twist. While Texas lawmakers seem to be on a mission to make life as difficult as possible for transgender folks, they seem to forget one little thing. A majority of Texans actually support same-sex marriage and anti-discrimination laws for LGBTQ people. Yes, you read that right. Despite their lawmakers, most people in Texas are pretty chill with letting people live their lives and marry whoever they want. Houston, the state's LGBTQ plus mecca, even has the 4th largest gay pride parade in the nation. So we're pretty sure the citizens of Houston are not on board with this whole let's jail people for existing thing. In fact, Texans may be secretly hoping their lawmakers spend less time trying to outdo each other in the most regressive bill category and more time focusing on, actual problems, like how to fix the roads, make healthcare affordable, or maybe figure out how to stop the state from looking like a live-action satire every time a new piece of legislation is proposed. And while the bill to make being trans illegal is certainly the kind of imagination overdrive we've come to expect from Texas, let's not forget this is the same state that passed a law in 2021 banning private businesses from requiring COVID-19 vaccines. Apparently, personal freedom in Texas extends only to things that don't involve public health or the well-being of others. But when it comes to your identity, well, that's a different story. But don't worry, Texas. You got plenty of time to get this bill just right. And who knows? Maybe next year Representative Oliverson will file another bill requiring all Texans to wear matching boots, hats, and spurs, regardless of their actual needs or desires. After all, what could be more Texan than being forced into a lifestyle just because someone with questionable judgment thinks it'll make them more popular at the next barbecue? In the meantime, let's check in on Houston, the city that's actually living the Texas dream. Houston, which has the largest LGBTQ plus population of any city in the state, is known for its diversity, openness, and, let's be real, its incredible food scene. Seriously, if you haven't had a brisket taco, you haven't truly lived. Houston's Pride Parade, the fourth largest in the nation, is a joyful celebration of who people really are, regardless of what lawmakers might think. It's a loud, colorful reminder that even in a state that sometimes seems like it's stuck in a time warp, there are still places where everyone is welcome and celebrated. It seems the real Texans, those living their truth in cities like Houston, Austin, and Dallas, are pushing back against the outdated ideas being championed by the few. Because let's face it, Texas may be big, but it doesn't always have to be big on bad ideas. So, while this latest bill may end up as another paper tiger in the state's infamous legislative zoo, let's just hope lawmakers can someday catch up with the people who actually live there. After all, it's not just the oil rigs that are big in Texas. So are the hearts of its people, especially in places like Houston, where the LGBT community is thriving and growing. But hey, Texas, while you're busy trying to push through laws that seem straight out of 1984, just remember, you might want to spend some time listening to the people who actually live there. Because honestly, Texas, you're starting to look like the last kid picked in dodgeball. And this time, it's not just about football. So here's to hoping that one day, Texas will wake up, look around, and realize that maybe, just maybe, it's time to stop trying to make laws that make everyone feel like they're living in a reality show. Until then, keep the cowboy hats on, because you're going to need them when the rest of the country watches you trip over your own legislation. Well, that's all the misinformation we've got for today, folks. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the wrong end of the pool, hit that like button so hard, even your ex would feel it. Don't forget to subscribe, ring the bell, because nothing says I have my life together like notifications about things you don't need to know. Stay factually incorrect, and I'll see you next time. Unless I've accidentally got some facts right, then I'm out.